Welcome, welcome. So I'm Jessica Hadari. I am the founder of Fem Talks, which is just a beautiful sisterhood and community of women. It's been around for about 10 years. And normally these calls, I know we're not right on the new moon today because of scheduling. This month we had to schedule a few days after the new moon, but usually right around the new moon, we bring in just beautiful, heart-centered women entrepreneurs who are experts in some aspect of what I call advanced marketing or advanced entrepreneurship. So for example, last month, we had two women, Becky Center and Deborah Wilder, come in and talk to us about how to create and fill a destination retreat. An exotic destination retreat, like in Bali or Hawaii, and all of the different things you need to think of and to vision and fill that. And the month before, on the new moon, Candace Onita came in and talked to us about how she's built an international speaking business and also attracts international clients through her YouTube channel. And so just these things that aren't necessarily always next steps in our business, but maybe ways that we want to grow our business, things that we want to aspire to in terms of building an expansive business, both live and offline, and live and online. And so normally these calls are for the women who speak at the Fem Talks events. All of the women who speak at the Fem Talks events are part of a mastermind, a sister mind, a business mastermind together. And this training call, this new moon training call, is just one of the many, many layers of support that they get around their business. And what we decided to do was for the summer months, we decided to open up these training calls, which are normally just for the Fem Talk speakers and their mastermind together. We decided to open up these calls for the entire Fem Talks community. And so just to kind of give you these like free, delicious learnings. So I'm really excited about this topic. This topic is near and dear to my heart, not because I've written a book, but because I know that I have books in me. I have books in me that want to be birthed. And there's something about that process that I really don't know much about. A lot of women in this community have written and published books. There are many women in the Fem Talk speaker community who've published multiple books. And Jill is one of those women. And not only that, and I'll read for you in a moment a bit more about her expertise, but she really, her expertise is in the realm of writing your book, publishing your book, and then how do you actually use your book as a way to create even an even bigger following, to reach even more people with your message. And on the visionary side of things, we women are so blessed to live in this moment. In this time, as Western women, we have more freedom with our voice and our power than we have had for thousands of years. And couple that with things like, book publishing or online, our ability to reach people online, we have an immense power to create incredible shift and to co-create credible shift just because we're living in this moment, in this time. So I'm feeling incredibly blessed to be here in this lifetime, and certainly feeling very blessed to just be with all of you lovely goddesses and priestesses and women change makers and women who are, I know you're committed to mending the world. And so don't do it alone. We're going to do it together. So our topic today is all about how to publish your book and also how to grow a big following around your business. So if you haven't published your book, you're in that baby process, then you're going to get some good information around what you maybe need to know in that publishing process. And if you have published your book, but maybe it didn't kind of pick up quite the attention that you wanted, or you just really want it to reach more people, well, we're going to talk about that piece as well. So let me tell you about Jill Lublin. She's a best-selling author and PR expert, and I'm holding up her latest book, which is an entrepreneurship focused book. I don't know if it's backwards for you. It looks backwards for me, but hopefully you can see it. It's called The Profit of Kindness. And I just love Jill's heart-centered approach to entrepreneurship and PR and marketing. And so this is just such a beautiful book. You can pick it up. But let me just read her bio. So Jill Lublin is an international speaker on the topics of radical influence, publicity, networking, kindness, and referrals. She is the author of three best-selling books, including Get Noticed, Get Referrals, and co-author of Guerrilla Publicity and Networking Magic. Jill Lublin is a master strategist on how to position your business for more profitability, more visibility in the marketplace, and she is the CEO of a strategic consulting firm that has over 20 years experience working with over 100,000 people, plus national and international media. Jill Lublin teaches publicity crash courses as both live events and live webinars, and consults and speaks all over the world. And you can visit her website, Profit of Kindness, same as the book, profitofkindness.com/free gift for a delicious free gift from Jill. So Jill, I have to give you just a more personal introduction, and then I'm going to totally hand the spotlight over to you. Jill is, she's got this very polished, she knows how to bring the polish to like reach the masses with her own message. That's what she's a master at, and that's what she's here to talk to us about. But I just want to say I've been so delighted to get to know Jill, and the witchy, wooey, priestessy, goddessy lady that she is so delightful, and I feel so met by her. I feel like this conversation can just go anywhere. So I just say all of that to say, Jill is so one of us and has contributed so much to this community and spoken on the stage and just brought so much wisdom to everyone that she comes into contact with in our community. So we bless her, and I would like for you all to just virtually give Jill a nice big kiss and a warm welcome. Mwah. Jill, we welcome you as you're welcoming yourself. I'm going to light a candle.
Thank you. It's interesting. I had somebody read my palm, and she looked at me and she said, "Oh my God, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do. I think we ought to call you the priestess of promotion." And I've been playing with that. I just want you to know. So that's exciting. And I'm grateful to be with all of you here today and really support you with getting a book out, or those of you who already have books, what you can do next. I want to say something we didn't say in the bio that you should know is that for 17 years, I've actually been helping people get book deals. But Jessica, did you want to do a little prayer with the candle?
Oh, sure. I just wanted to light it and just have us all just take a nice deep breath together. So we might as well do that now. Just a nice deep breath and really open yourself to receive this beautiful, wise time of the new moon. Is a time of opening yourself to new intentions, to turning the page, moving into a next chapter, no pun intended, and to just take a nice deep breath to really open your deepest self and your wisest self to receive the delicious wisdom that will be dripped into your consciousness today. So, blessings. Okay, Jill, it's all yours.
Thank you. So to go back, I've been helping people with even just a great idea, like not a word has to be written, get publishing deals for 17 years at Book Expo America, which is, for those of you who don't know, the largest book fair in the world. And, I want to share with you one thing that New World Library's publisher said to me. New World Library is a wonderful spiritual publishing house. You might have heard of Eckhart Tolle and Deepak Chopra. Actually, the founder discovered Eckhart Tolle for the power of presence. And every year I pitch, along with many, many others, his editorial acquisitions person. So 2 years ago, I'm walking by, and I'm on a what I call hug, kiss, kiss basis with most of these people, meaning we hug and we kiss and we say hello. And he's the actual publisher. He said, Jill, something's driving me crazy this year. I said, what, Mark? He said, well, frankly, I'm finding authors are trying to promote me their books based on their stories, as opposed to what's good for my readers. Now, I really want you to hear that, because I think it's a mistake that a lot of people make. And I've seen it with my clients where I've had to kind of restructure them slightly to make what I call my storybooks into how-to books. So that's a really important first point I want you to think about, is that with whatever you're promoting, whether it be a business and you're here for your business, whether it be a book and you're here for your book, you've got to think about the audience. So from a publishing perspective, I want you to think from a publisher's mind, is this going to meet their readers' needs? And Mark said to me, it's not about their story. I don't care about their story. I like it integrated into the book, but I want to know how my readers will benefit. I really want you to hear that straight from the publisher's mouth. And I think that's really important. I also, want to tell you that it's almost easier in getting a major book deal, for instance, that you haven't actually published a word. So just so you know, I go to Book Expo America every year, and I promote and publish these people based on a one sheet, like you may have seen that maybe for your speaking, or and just a great book idea. So that's something, because they will look to see, publishers will, if you want a major publishing deal, they will look to see how many of you sold. And if it's not 5,000 and more, just so you know, what I tend to do with my clients is switch it just a little bit and call it something different. It could actually be the same book. So that's just something to think about. But here's the other truth. On the publishing process, from the minute you publish your book and even conceive of the idea, you need to be starting your publicity and build your platform. Because I want you to also hear that these same publishers at Book Expo America, like Red Will Weiser, another great publisher for many of you on this Zoom, they are interested in what they call, what's your platform? What's your social media look like? What's your numbers? What are you going to do for your publicity? They want to know the answers to these questions. And they want to know who you are in relation to your people. So I want to just tell you that, because I think it's important to know. I've noticed that publishers are more like that than they've ever been before. So I just want to share that with you. And I also want to say to you, there are plenty of people I've gotten deals for that none of you have ever heard of, because they have a great idea. So I want you to really hear that too, that your idea and your message is what's key. And I want to suggest to you that building your message from the beginning, from now, from the moment you conceive of your book, and even after the book is done, to continuously do publicity and promotion. And as Jessica, I love the polish your message. It's really, really a key to your success. So that's really important. And then I want to share something on the international side. So can I I know everybody's on mute, but those of you that can actually see, raise your hand if you actually already have a book. Can you raise your hand if you already have a book? Okay, great. And of course, I can't really see the other one. So you might all have books. Okay, thank you. So since Joyce, that's you, I see, who has a book already. It's important that you all start thinking about getting your books out farther and wider. So the other thing I do every year is I go to 2 international book fairs, in London and in Germany. And I actually promote only self-published authors to get them self-published deals in multiple languages. What's interesting to me when I work the foreign book deals is they don't care as much. I'll just say, I don't know why, but they don't say, what's your platform and who are you and they love the idea. They want the good ideas that are perfect for their culture. So, one of the things I do, for instance, and this is just something good to mull around, even as you're thinking about doing your books, right? Because you want to be thinking internationally. Like one of the books, here's an interesting example I represented from a gentleman who found his homeless mother. Can you imagine? After 22 years, he found his homeless mother. Beautiful book. It's a story of what happened and how, that people can be taken off the streets and gotten normal lives again. It was a beautiful, heartfelt story. And I'm in the Malaysian booth talking to a Malaysian publisher. So, I talk to publishers in different countries, like Russia, like Malaysia, like Singapore, like China and Japan, and different publishers and agents who handle that country. And then we sell them the foreign rights to acquire in that country and to translate and distribute in that country. So just so you understand how that works, like the US market has their right, and then you want to get it into other markets too. And I want you all to really think globally, because this is a global marketplace. So I'm talking to the Malaysian publisher on behalf of this gentleman, and he looks at me and he goes, you know what, that's just not going to work for us because we don't have homelessness in this country. And I went, oh, wow, of course, So I just thought that was really interesting. And, but here's what else is interesting. Even though they have healthcare for everyone, he was very interested in one of my other books about healthcare and patients' rights and how to take care of patients better. So just hear that distinction. But I want to start planting in your minds the opportunity of, number one, knowing that there's major U.S. publishers interested in your work. They want to know about your message and your platform. We can go through some things on how to make that really good today. And I want to put that as the baseline for you, that's something you got to be thinking about. And then from a foreign rights perspective, I want you to understand that they care about your great idea, and that no matter what, if you're thinking about books, I want you to start thinking globally. What's your message globally? It's a very small world after all. And that's just something. But the other truth is that your message begins here, wherever here is for you, right? Locally. Your message begins on your social media, in your publicity. And I think it's really, really key that you're always thinking like a marketer and not always an author. Now, please understand what I mean by that. I want you to be realizing that you wrote a book to get the message out, and that the way the message will get out is by utilizing publicity, by utilizing what I like to call everything you've got, by using everything that's going on in the marketplace today. So I think that's really a key. And excuse me, just a minute. So I want to show you, so with Profit of Kindness, I'm going to demonstrate something to you. In fact, go to profitofkindness.com, because one of the things I want you to do is have a website for your book from the minute you've got the book out, okay? Now, I will tell you, I've been on 7 Fox News TV interviews because of this book. That's a beautiful thing, right? I've been on over 45 radio interviews. I've been in Inc. magazine, Forbes magazine, Fortune magazine, CEO magazine, Selling Power magazine, and more. Jenny McCarthy's radio show. Do you know why? I mean, I would love to tell you it's because I wrote this book, but here's the real truth. What I did was I sent out a press release because this book came out 2 days after Trump's inauguration. It's not been a very kind time, as we all know, in today's world. And so I sent out a press release that talked about the divided states of America. And you know, my friends, that's what got me on all the Fox News stations. That's what got me over 45 radio interviews, and still counting, I might add, and major magazines. That's what happened. Not because the new book's out. And I really want that to land too, because I think a mistake a lot of authors make. And you're so excited, and understandably so. You got a new book, woohoo. But we want to get this book out. And I'm going to tell you, my kindness book is not a political book. But that's the wagon we rode, because it's a political time, and frankly, it worked. So you want to do what works, and you don't want to get too caught up in what you think is your main message, but really use a message that other people care about. And here's the good news. Once you're in the media, like there's this guy in Vegas at Fox TV, and I'm sitting down on the couch. We're ready to go on camera. We got 2 minutes to air. And I see he has like a bullet one sheet. He doesn't have the book. I brought the book. You always keep your books with you. For those of you with business, you want to keep your brochures with you, whatever, right? And that's why the book got put up, not because he had it, even though they had it. And I remember 2 minutes to airtime, and he looks at me and he goes, so do you want to talk about kindness in business? Or do you want to, which really is what the book's about, or do you want to talk about kindness in politics? And no, I'm sorry. He said, actually, do you want to talk about kindness in today's world? He didn't actually say business. That's actually what the book is about, kindness in business. But he talked about kindness in today's world. Or do you want to talk about kindness in politics? That was his question. And I thought, well, clear that, you know, obviously, and I don't have any expectation, by the way, that they have read the book, because they haven't. I know that. The media, they never read your book. So you have to be prepared to take over. Joyce, I see you nodding, right? Yes, it's so true. You be prepared to take over the interview. And I just said, you know, I want to talk about kindness in the world today, because I figured I could use that to talk about business. I could use that to parlay my 7 return on kindness pathways into a message, right? But the point is, you need to know your message and you need to control it. The other point is that we want to get a yes from the media, and whatever way we can get a yes, it's all good. So if you notice, my way in has been through politics, and it will continue to be, because God knows we need more kindness in the world, in that, and, you know, just generally. So I say that because I want you to get disattached from what you think your message is. And I want you to get interested in how can you take your message and parlay it into a wider audience. And so, yes, I am deeply spiritual. I am deeply connected. And I'm going to tell you, from a media perspective, I want to be on Fox News. I want to be in Inc. magazine, which I've been blessed to be in, and Forbes and Fortune. And spirituality is not the piece. And even kindness was not necessarily, which, by the way, is a softer, more acceptable word, so to speak. But interestingly enough, the way in was through the political realm. You can get that, right? So I just want to open up with that to have you really think about that. And having worked with both traditional and a lot of self-published authors, you know, the good news that I have for you is your message, when polished and well-spoken and consistent and persistent in the marketplace, will get you the kind of attention that you want and you deserve, and will sell books. But I really want to open up many realms for you and just say that you go in every way you can. Make sense? Jessica, maybe you want to come in for a little bit.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, thank you. You know, it's interesting because I have for all purposes, a successful business, but I know nothing about this world. So I feel like I'm like, whoa, never thought about that. Never thought about that. And I am noticing there's this way that, like, my spiritual, you know, I spend all my time with, like, Bay Area spiritual women. And there is almost like a fear that comes up about, like, well, do I actually want to reach people outside of that bubble? And I do, but there's a little, like, oh, fear of being seen. And that path is kind of a little coming up for me, and I don't usually feel that. So thanks for stirring the pot. My question,
actually, can we talk about that for a moment?
Yeah, actually, that's right. That was one of the things we wanted to address. I totally forgot about that. Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, Jill.
I want to talk about that because, can I just tell you the truth? Most of my clients are scared. And in fact, most of my clients are spiritually based, heart-centered entrepreneurs, thought leaders, authors, consultants, coaches, speakers, right? They're all this kind of people that you hang with. And I love that. That's why I so love this community, because I'm right at home. And I'll tell you, everybody's scared. And that's the truth, including me, by the way. I know, you know, sometimes it doesn't look like it. Guess what? My heart pounds just like everyone else's. And I'm like, oh my God, can I take this message out? And I'll share with you, when my first book came out, Guerrilla Publicity, I remember my first book signing at Barnes & Noble. And now remember, I've had 4 books now. And this is my first book signing. And I went into Barnes & Noble and I saw the poster, you know, that big, like, life-size poster they have. And I remember looking at my face, and there was something that happened vibrationally for me. You know when a chicken is born and the little chick, they peek through those shells, you know, peek, and then that shell breaks and their little beak comes out. That's all of us being born into our greatness. And I want you to think about that, because I think every time, I know for me, every time I have a new book, I up level. There's a certain vibrational up level. And the truth is that wherever you are a little bit afraid, that's a great edge. And I encourage you to work with that edge, to find help from someone else, just like I have. I've gotten outside help to support me with the places where I didn't feel good enough. I didn't know if my message would be heard. I didn't know if I was the one to really say it. Who am I to talk about kindness? There's the Dalai Lama, and particularly the good enough message, at least for me. And I think that's a very consistent issue for many of us, is, are we good enough to take this, what is inside of you, your message out? And so I just really want to support you to know that we all go through it, even the ones who don't look like it. It's just that, I've had a lot of support in this with, traditional therapies and wonderful release processes. And then there's just the doing it that just gets more comfortable. What I've noticed with my clients in my publicity courses and those I work with is that when your message is consistent and you know how to say it, your self-confidence goes way up. And so even for me at this point, I mean, honestly, I'm just much more confident. But that doesn't mean I'm confident every time. That doesn't mean, even as I have been doing these TV interviews, and I've got 4.5 minutes to get a message on kindness out. That's just an overwhelming thought to me. But, I just break it down. Three main pieces of solving a problem. And we can talk about a great formula for all of you that would be very successful for you. But I just really want to share fear. It's just part of the process. And the good news is, I'm sure you all know that the brain doesn't know the difference between fear and excitement. So as I'm sitting, in the wings, waiting for the camera to go on at Fox News and Good Day LA, or Mornings on 2 in the Bay Area, when I did that Fox show, by the way, I had 3 reporters and me at one table. If you go to profitofkindness.com, you'll see the interview. 3 reporters and me. Do you know what that's like? Oh my God, like 3 on 1, and they're all firing questions at me very fast. So I really want to say to you that part of knowing your message gives you the confidence to go forward. And that this is, sometime a baby step process. I know with everybody I'm pitching, for instance, at Book Expo America, the truth is, by the time their book comes out, it's between 18 and 24 months. You got time, right? Even publicity, by the time a magazine article hits, it's typically 6 months out. And I want you to think of your publicity and your promotion in 3, 6, and 9 month increments. So you're always looking ahead. But I also want you seeding the ground, because everything grows in different times. And that's why, no matter if you haven't written the book, or if you're here listening because you want to get your business out more, which, by the way, when you're doing a book, it's also to obviously promote your business, I hope, unless it's just to promote your story, in which case, whole different story. But really, we want your book to lead to business and to lead to better things for all of you. We want your book, your message, your business to touch people's hearts and move them to action. And action, of course, to work with you to be better in the world, right? I mean, I'm driven by my mission of supporting messengers to get your message out. And that's what excites me and has me, every day come to what I love to do with great passion and great joy. So what's yours, right? And if you put it in book form, I know you've got something to share. And now, of course, that something to share needs to land with other people. So go ahead, Jessica. I hope that helped. And if you need some clarification, let's keep talking about it.
That was great. I have 3 questions. One is that I want you to define platform, because I hear platform come up in the world of books, in my limited conversation in the world of books. And I don't quite know, is that like a collection of steps and processes and is that like a collection of stuff? Like what do you mean when you say blah, 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 platform?
Okay, so what I mean by it, and if you ask the publisher, it might be slightly different, but a few things I'm looking at. One is, what's your publicity like? In other words, do people know your name? That would be good. That's platform. Do people know your message? That's platform. I'll tell you from a publisher's perspective, they're going to look at your social media platform. How many people do you have in your realm? They're going to look at, are you doing speaking engagements? So it's great that you have FemTalks to provide that platform for speakers. See, that's a platform for speakers. And then they can go back and say, I've spoken on FemTalk stages. That's a platform. You own one, by the way. So just so you know, that's the good news. And everybody on this call, that's the good news. So that's a piece. Hang on one sec. I got a bit of a cough, so if I have to occasionally excuse myself, please forgive me.
No problem.
So platform is your social media, your publicity. It is who's talking about you, where are you speaking, who knows about you, who are your clients, and then who will help spread the word. So for instance, I'm a member of many organizations, a transformational leaders organization, other ones. And when my book came out, I said, hey, people, please help me spread the word, because they have platforms. They have people. It's basically the easy definition: people who follow you, people who love you, people who are your clients. It crosses all of those. And in my opinion, publicity equals platform, platform equals publicity. They are similar, very similar. Ooh, can't hear you.
Myself. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I was always such a mystery, and it was like one of those like smile and nod things. So I love knowing that I already hold a piece of that, and now I understand it. Yeah, the kind of collection of that definition. And so my other two questions were to give some like tips or next steps, or maybe they're like inner or practical practices for I think there's two categories of women on this call. There are women who have published books, and maybe either those books didn't quite land the way, or didn't kind of stir up the amount of attention, or stir up the masses, I think, in the way that they may have been hoping. Or maybe they're looking at doing another book and, how they can make it even more awesome. And then the other category is women like me who are in the process of writing a book or want to write a book, but maybe could use some illumination on that path.
So let's take a question at a time. So if you would tell me, what would you like me to answer first? First question, maybe repeat that.
Let's address women who are already further along the path. They're in the process of publishing, or they have published a book. Maybe they're on a second book. They're a little further down that path, and are maybe wanting to like be more awesome, or take what they've written, repurpose it, or I don't know. Yeah.
So a couple things with already existing content. Number one, you can be I want to make sure that you are blogging it consistently, maybe different chapters and different pieces that would be good for you on a consistent basis. So that's something I'd like you to make sure that you're doing, is blog your content, so to speak. And Jessica, is everybody still there? Because for some reason,
we're all still here, and we can hear you.
There we are. Okay, my gallery went away. There we go. I got it. Okay, I just like seeing the faces and the telephone numbers. It's just kind of fun. So I would definitely make sure that your content is blogged out, so to speak, and also that you create an actual publicity campaign around your content. Even if your book's older, you can renew it through a new publicity campaign. Like you heard me using the whole Trump thing as a new kind of publicity campaign. So I want you to think about what's going on in the media. Keep yourself alert. And in fact, speaking of alerts, make sure you go on Google and put yourself in Google Alerts for your topic. for your subject matter. So that's really important too. Okay. And then look to see where you can fit in today's what's happening. There's all kinds of news going on. And my question is, how does your message fit in? You know, look at the whole healthcare thing. Anyone who's writing on health, wellness, fitness, you could tie it into that. You could certainly tie anything into a political campaign, relationships, you know, anything. My guess is we could probably figure out a way to tie it in. So I would encourage you to do that. Also, so that means new PR campaigns. So, I mean, I'm on the 3rd edition of Guerrilla Publicity already, and every time we do a new PR campaign. And I want you to think about the fact that just because your books come out doesn't mean your publicity ends. So you're always, I might call it, looking for new ways to fit in to the PR thing, to the PR process that's going on in the world. And that's just something to really be with, think about, and know that your message is important. And however way you get it into people's minds, mentalities, and structure, it's a beautiful thing. And, you know, we want to touch their hearts, their spirits, their minds. And that's what's important. And so don't worry if your book's a year old or 2 years old, or, you know, it doesn't matter. Just what we want to do is create a new campaign around it, a new message around it. And so that's something I really want you to think about. Do you know who Swami Beyondananda is? Some of you might have heard of him. I see some nods. Yeah. He's very funny. He's a punster. And he hired me to help work his book, When You See a Sacred Cow, Milk It for All It's Worth. He's just a fun guy, and he's in the New Age world. And but he came to me when his book was a year old, you know, meaning it had been out a year already. And we just did a bit of backtracking. We made the press release really funny. And you know what? It worked. And it got him the media attention that he wanted when the book first came out. So I just really want to tell you, it's never too late. And always be thinking, how can I promote this? Where can I promote it? You know, are there some other places that you can be on? So I'd like you to look at iTunes and iHeart and see what podcasts are going on. Look at Blog Talk Radio and see what other hosts are doing what shows in your topic. And then I want you to frankly get in touch with them. Here's the good news. They all need content, and you're great content. I want you to think about maybe hosting your own podcast, you know, especially in these days. And, you know, I think by the year 2017, we're in 2017. I think it's 2018. Great news for all of you is that every car is going to be required to have like I forget what they call it technically, some like podcast, like you get basically immediate access to your podcasts. And they're actually putting that in every car, which is why, if you've noticed, the podcasts are going up and being elevated. They kind of fell down for a while, and now it's elevated again. So I say that because, you know, think about your own. Could you have a podcast? Is that something that might be interesting to you? The other thing that I did is I put a TV show on called Messages of Hope onto my local Comcast cable TV network. Because here's good news. The Federal Trade Commission requires that your local, you know, in your neighborhood, wherever you live, you probably have a local, you know, channel 22, we'll call it, whatever it is, your local TV access, cable access. And I'm going to encourage some of you, because I think it would be great for some of you to actually have your own show. TV. This is in TV. And what's nice about that is that you have a platform. That's a platform. And then on top of that, so you have a platform to go on, and you have like every day it's your on your set, your book, you know, stands beside you. That's a beautiful thing. And then your bio goes by on the main TV screen. That's a beautiful thing, right? And so I encourage you to take a look at that. It's completely free. It's a great resource and access. And even if you don't want to do a full-on TV show, I encourage all of you to look into your local cable access channels and at least do one video shoot, again, completely free for all of you. I think that's great news. So that's something to really put into action. that even if you don't want to do a TV show, definitely do at least some video, some promotional pieces, like do some 2-minute quick messages on your book, your content, your business. That's really popular. I wouldn't go over 2 minutes. I'm going to tell you, it's a very ADD society, as we all know. And so 2-minute messages, even 1 minute. I just recently talked at an event and this woman does 1-minute videos, so just FYI. I think that's important. She's 28. And I'm like, okay, you think 1 minute's even better? She said, yeah, it's just fast, focused, simple, get it in there. And Jessica, go ahead, please.
What were you going to ask me?
Well, I was going to ask you if you had questions, or we want to maybe open it up a bit, whatever you feel.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to maybe get a sense, too, for women who are in the very beginning, like they haven't, like me, I haven't started writing my book, or I kind of have, there's like notes happening, downloads are being received. Tell just maybe a couple things that maybe we want to keep in mind. I actually love that you answered the further along question, because it gives me an understanding of what I can be planting right now that will have me at that point be like all set. But is there anything at the more beginning stages that maybe just a couple tips?
Sure. And let me just say, even in the beginning, all the things I said, right? Just start a podcast. That might be easier for some of you. If you're more verbal, that's a beautiful thing, right? Do quick blog on your different topics and keep it simple. And I'm going to tell you, just because I've worked with so many self-published authors and so many folks, just like many of you on the Zoom. And here's what I want to say. It saddens me a little bit, honestly, that sometimes 3 years later, I'll be talking to that person again. I'm like, how's the book? And they're like, well, I still didn't get it out, because, to a certain extent, I want to just address this perfectionism thing, that it doesn't have to all be perfect. And so I want to also suggest that for some of you, I see nods, thank you, that for some of you, getting some help, like have somebody who's an editor. This is one thing I'd really recommend. Literally give you deadlines and hold your hand through the process. So can I tell you, I have ghostwriters on every single one of my projects, because I'd never get a book done. Are you kidding? We'd be talking, here I am, 8 years later with 4 books out on major publishers, but that's because I had help. So it takes a village to write a book and multiple villages to promote it. And you are in Fem Talks are in a village. That's the beautiful piece. I want to recommend to you that you really get some help with getting your book out. That means someone to hold your feet to the fire and support you with real deadlines, and we'll look at your work, and then release the fact that it has to be perfect, because done is better than perfect. You'll laugh, because in Profit of Kindness, I don't know, Jessica, if you noticed, but I have seven return on kindness factors. I call them rocks, 7 rocks. So these are like real words, like flexibility and generosity, about how to be more kind. So it was really interesting because, frankly, I just made up these words and created them. And I'm calling my writer and my partner in this book with helping me, create it. And I'm like, wait, I got a new word. No, let's change this one for that one. That's my creative process. And that's great. Had I been sitting there trying to do that myself, can you imagine? The book still wouldn't have been done. Well, wait, maybe this is better. Well, we all do this, right? This is better, that's better, especially highly creative people, of which I put myself in that category. So it's just something I really want you to know, that it doesn't have to be perfect, to get some actual help, and to start seeding the ground with your beautiful and brilliant ideas, and with whatever comes out. I'm working right now with this urban shaman, and this woman is incredible. I mean, just incredibly profound at being a shaman. Meanwhile, I said, all right, I want 2-minute videos. She goes, okay, do I have to write it all out? No, I want you just to riff it. Just riff it. Because for her, she riffs good, Some of you, I just suggest, take your iPhone and riff. And then get a transcriptionist, Philippines, they have tons of transcriptionists on Fiverr, Fiverr. They have tons of transcriptionists, and just get your words out. Get your words out. And I think that's really a key. So that's a piece. And then, you can shoot some video. Some of you will do beautiful on video. Again, I'd encourage you 2 minutes or less. And so this urban shaman, I've got her riffing on, wild solutions for today's problem times. And she loves that, right? Because she talks well. So for some of you, just take what you talk on and turn it into the verbal inside your iPhone, and then post it on YouTube and get started. It's really a get started moment. I want to encourage for all of you, it's a get started moment. So if the one thing you do from this call is write a blog on your topic, or get your iPhone and do a cute video and post it on YouTube or Facebook, or do a Facebook Live on your topic, another great idea, by the way, consistently. When you're at the FemTalks meeting, grab a sister, go in the corner and do a quick interview and tell her to ask you fabulous questions about what you do. But make sure you're the center point. So those are fun, quick ideas: Facebook Live, blog posts, YouTube videos that will get you started with producing what you know. And if you don't want to do the visual, at least do the written, and then have it all transcribed. And even on your visual, make sure it's all transcribed, because guess what? You start doing this even once a week, you're going to have a book in like 10 weeks. I mean, how many chapters do you need? You don't need that. Good. I'm glad I see nods, right? It doesn't have to be hard. It's about reproducing simplicity of what you already know and use the material you already have.
Thank you so much, Jill. I love that one of the ripple effects of doing videos on YouTube or Facebook Live, which is something I've been thinking about, it also kind of gives you like an immediate understanding of like which of those topics, which of those videos kind of get the most lean in. It seems like that could be a very informative part of the market research as well. It's like, oh yeah, like, wow, this video that I was talking about this mundane thing, and yet that got all the likes and the comments, or, sometimes I've experienced that with other parts of my business, and it's like, oh, okay, we're going over there. All right, ladies.
Yeah,
thanks
and
for
it's
letting me
about
know.
whatever works.
Yeah.
It's about whatever works. Let me tell you, last year and a year before that, I actually represented this wonderful mystic healer out of the Bay Area, actually. She wrote a book on mystic healing. And I represented her in Frankfurt for international rights deals. She's a self-published author. She does some workshops, like some of you, right? But you probably never heard her name. And here's what's interesting. I got her a worldwide rights deal with a major spiritual press called Finhorn. They do a lot of spiritual books. And, and typically they even will do just the English version rights throughout Britain and other parts where there are English spoken. And she took worldwide rights because she loved the book, right? And she loved the content of it. But part of what this woman had been doing is exactly what we're speaking about here: blogging, posting, YouTubing, small segments, small scenarios. So it makes a huge difference. I think you'll really like this, and it's such an easy strategy that many of you are already doing.
This is awesome, Jill. This is great. This really inspires me and gives me some just kind of little like crumbs to follow. Some of the ideas I've been swirling around, and not even realizing that those ideas had anything to do, like the videos, would have anything to do with writing a book. I'm just starting to make connections and to really move.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, to just really take this on as a creative project. So I do want to open it up for questions for just a little bit here, but I also know that you have workshops and awesome things right here in the Bay Area, and things that I just want you to maybe give us a sense of, I definitely feel like I'm coming to that place where I need a little more like hand holding of like, okay, Jessica, do this, So if you could maybe give us a sense of how we can find you or come to one of your workshops, or where, take.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah.
So I teach what I call Publicity Crash Course. It's a live event in the Bay Area every 2 months. My next one will be July 21st, and then I'll have one after that in September, just so you know. And what I do there is like roll up our sleeves, no nonsense, get your publicity done. All the things we're talking about here that will build your platform, like build your message and create documents that you need from yourself so that the press says yes to you. And we actually do them in the live 1-day course. So that's really cool. If for whatever reason you can't make the date, I start you in my live Zoom webinar just like this. And it's a 3-part webinar structured slightly different. But since most of you, or I think all of you really are in the Bay Area, I want to encourage you to come either July 21st or the date in September and really get your publicity done for your book or your business. Wherever you're at right now, this course will meet you so that you start getting your message forward in the right way and that people know what you're doing and that you reach the right audience for you. So that's what we're going to do in the course. And you're going to actually leave with 4 templates and 3 of your documents really done. So people really love that. It's very practical, very tactical. There have been a number of people from the FemTalks community who have shared that with me. And if you go to publicitycrashcourse.com, you can actually read it full on all about it. And you'll also see that it's $12.97 there. And let me just say for my FemTalk sisters, and that you're on this, it'll be $6.97. If you need to do it in payments, you can. We can do 2 payments of $375, just so you know. Or it's $6.97. And that'll, I think what we'll do, just because it's actually, that'll be an offer just, for the people here. And that's something I offer when I speak. So it's a wonderful offer for you. And I invite any of you who are really interested in needing to take a next level, I just want you to know, you all need to do publicity consistently. This is not a weight thing. Okay, so that's my special offer to my FemTalk sisters and community. And I look forward to joining and supporting all of you at the next course.
Beautiful. Awesome. Let's open up for questions. And I just want to say that sounds awesome. I know women who have paid thousands of dollars to coaches or courses for what sounds like very similar, like the same information. So that just lands as very generous. So thank you. And I just put the little link in the chat over here, and I'll make sure to post that with the recording when we put this up on YouTube.
Thank you. And Jessica, let me say, to get the code and actually the discount, you guys put in the word publicity, and that should give you the discount to $6.97.
Cool. I'll go ahead and just.
And Jessica, you might want to just double check that, make sure it works. We've been having, unfortunately, my assistant lost her husband lately, and there's all kinds of wildness here. But
okay, yeah, we can double check with that. Yeah. Awesome. Well, let's. Do you feel like opening it up to questions?
Sure. Let's take a few. We've got about 5 minutes, and support some of you on your specific questions. I see a hand.
Go ahead, Reba.
Hi, thank you so much.
Uh-oh.
I hope it doesn't continue doing that.
Uh-oh. Maybe
wow.
Reba can type in her question. Jessica, you're on mute.
Reba, do you want to type it in over on the chat over here where I've been writing? And we'll get you answered. Unfortunately, with the calls, it is hard to unmute everyone, but let's go ahead and try it. We're going to go ahead and unmute the ladies
Hi.
Called in.
Hi, this is Leslie. Hey, this is Leslie Reed.
Hi, Leslie. So great to hear you.
Yeah. This is wonderful. Jill, thank you very much. And I am working on my own, kind of pushing myself out the edge to do blogs. But one of the things that I've been doing in my career prior to this is editing and working with people artists, people who are researchers, people who are getting their message out, to set deadlines, to complete things. And I would love to work with the community on that, because I have a real way of helping clarify a woman's voice with the writing. And it's just delightful for me. So if
Hey,
there's a way
Leslie,
I could connect
Leslie, I'm gonna encourage you to connect with Jill offline, and maybe the two of you can have a little collaboration conversation.
Absolutely.
Great idea.
We have limited time, so we're going to keep this for questions. But thanks so much for sharing.
And then
Sure.
I saw Joyce's hand.
Wow.
Thank you, Leslie.
Thank you so much. I just want to support everything that Jill is saying, having gone through a writing process, and where I stumbled and fell and didn't know, because I didn't have someone like you guiding me, although I did have two excellent editors. One of the things you said was to have your publicity go with you while you're writing. I did not do that. What's happened for me is I get really fantastic feedback. People have really appreciated the book, moving beyond words, but not getting it out enough. I feel like I've been thwarted somehow, or it's gotten into a strange place. So I love your idea of further publicity. I'd love to know how to work with you individually, because in a workshop it won't be possible to do that, or maybe it will, but I'd love to have a chat with you about how maybe we could work together.
Yeah,
and
thank you for that. And Joyce, why I'm thinking of it for all of you, if you want to reach me direct, just email me, and I think we should put this on the chat too, but Jill@JillLublin.com. Lots of L's in there. Jill@JillLublin.com.
Jill@JillLublin.com.
And Joyce, I want to mention something to you, because it's important for all of you. When you say in my book, I want you to start saying your book title right after you say that.
Okay.
This will make a world of difference for you.
Okay. Extraordinary Leadership During Extraordinary Times.
Thank you.
Yeah. And one other thing, I'd like to ask you if there are any suggestions, because my book is now 1.5 years old. Mm-hmm. And I know the messages are still really important, but bridging between what is needed out there and what my message is, I'm trying to find that. Do you know of anyone, any place, anywhere I could go where I could hone more of the copy of that message in the now, where it is now?
I got great news for you. We need extreme leadership in extreme times, right? Is that the right
extraordinary
now,
leadership?
Excuse me. We need extraordinary leadership in what's this?
During extraordinary times.
Yeah, like hello, right now, my dear. Your message is probably more relevant than ever, is what I want to say encouragingly to you. I think right now, oh my gosh, we need extraordinary leadership, and these are extraordinary times. I think we can all agree about that, no matter what side of the fence you're on, right?
Yeah.
And so this is where I want you to come in, waving your white flags here, and really start. I'd really address this current political climate, and that's your way. That is so much your way in. So much your way in.
Okay.
And I think really extraordinary for you. You're very lucky. This is a very powerful time.
Yes.
Again, coming off of, I just share with you a woman that I'm working with privately, and she was actually in my publicity course, but I just have to tell you, she got shot 8 times. Once in the face that actually reached her. Now she's a coach and she's going to put a book out, right? She hasn't written her book. She's putting it out, and I'm going to help her get through this process. But I want to tell you something about her. She came into my course, I want to talk to people about self-esteem and feeling good about themselves, because that's frankly what got her through an incredibly tough, as none of us can even fathom, circumstance in her life. And I looked at her and I said, I want you to Google right now how many people are shot a day. Because I was watching a CNN report, and I noticed under, it's really called the Chiron, what goes on underneath the line as they're talking, it said 30 people will be shot in an hour. Okay. We found out over 500 were shot in a day. I mean, it was just wild statistics. Maybe it wasn't 500, but it was really big. Yes. And I'm like, you got to talk about this, right? Even though her whole thing was self-esteem and built women's empowerment, exactly what all of us love, that's not what's going to work to get you on the media. So I think for you, good news, Joyce, we got extraordinary times. And I want you to really talk about how to be an extraordinary leader, and then start commenting on this one did this, that was extraordinary leadership. This one did that, extraordinary leadership.
Beautiful. Oh, I love
happening.
this.
It is
Yes.
happening. It's happening right now. With the Healthcare Act this week, people are standing up and doing extraordinary leadership. And you know what I blog on that I thought was a really cool story was that I think they're called Adapt. They are a handicap group that basically they were one of the first ones to get buses to allow handicap on. Well, it turns out they're going to Congress people's offices and basically.
Excuse me, you need to say people with disabilities, and I'm sorry I interrupted.
Thank you.
Handicapped is way not cool.
I'm sorry. People with disabilities. Thank you. I appreciate the correction. People with disabilities, and they, you know, went into Senator McConnell's office and completely stood in front of the door. That's pretty awesome. Completely changing the law, I might add, consistently. So what kind of extraordinary, that's extraordinary leadership.
It is.
Making comments about that would be
That's
amazing.
awesome.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Who else may I help? Maybe we'll take one or two more. Yes. Please.
Hi, thank you so much for this. I'm really inspired, and I have 2 books in me that have yet to be written, but I'm wondering what your take on the role of vulnerability is, and in kind of the whether and in what context it's wise to share the intimate details of one's personal life. In one of the books that I have is a memoir, and it's a very kind of deeply intimate memoir that ties into the actual work I want to do, which is more helping other women through the process that I went through. But
so
those are 2 separate books.
Depending what that is, and you know, but let me tell you, I've gotten down with some pretty amazing people. Everything from sexual abuse, being shot in the face, recovering from a stroke at a young age in her 30s, all kinds of people in all kinds of circumstances. A woman whose son killed her husband right in front of her and then killed himself. I mean, really intense things, and learning how to speak it in a way that will help others, like the one whose son was schizophrenic, and now she's helping others with mental illness all over the place. The sexual abuse woman, you know, has started a foundation, and all kinds of beautiful things have occurred. And through my coaching, she got in USA Today. Now that's a way to reach a lot of people, right? Yeah. So I would share with you that sharing your story and your vulnerability is important. Saying it in a way that is not like poor me, but really, you know, like just the woman whose son, unfortunately, you know, that terrible thing happened. She could not tell her story without totally breaking down in tears. And I helped her tell her story, and to be okay with the fact that occasionally, you know, it's good to cry. It's okay to cry in front of people. It really is. But you got to be able to get through the story.
Right.
And they can feel your heart, and they can feel your vulnerability. And I think it's a beautiful thing. And I think actually telling a story is really good. Number one, people can relate to you better. Number two, it gives you the, shall we say, expertise to tell the story and to stand upon that platform to speak to others because you've been through it. But you know, one of the women I worked with who had all kinds of childhood illness issues like polio and etc., walked with a limp, all kinds of intense things happened, drug addiction and all kinds of, you know, bad relationship stuff, and we turned her story into how to overcome obstacles. So it wasn't just what she was dealing with, but what's the obstacles in your life, and how can you, here's some great things to do to overcome them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so my answer is yes, I want your story. Mm-hmm. Yes, I want your vulnerability, and that's key to telling a great story.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
You're welcome. And Jessica, I think let's maybe a wrap-up comment, or unless there's somebody burning with a question.
Yeah, I think we've gotten everyone who's on video, and it is a little challenging to answer the phone questions because the raise hand thing isn't there. But I feel like this is a great start. I also feel like I just wanted to say that we're going to repost this video. So if you didn't get the first, if you hopped on a little late, we're going to post this on the FemTalks YouTube channel. So you can always Google that. It'll probably go up in a few weeks. I'm going into my summer. And so I'll put it up before our next new moon call. So it'll be up there. And I feel complete. I feel like I have some really great kind of action steps and next steps for myself. And I just really appreciate the generosity of content in this call.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And I appreciate that. I appreciate all of you being here and spending your energy and time with me. I really just from the bottom of my heart, say to you that your message matters. And whatever is your message, let's take it out there in a way that others can hear it, that others can feel you, that your work makes a difference in the world, and that what you do affects and impacts other people. Because I know that all of you are committed to that. And the great news is Publicity handles it. Right messaging makes it happen.
Beautiful. Well, I just wanted to grab my candle and give you another big virtual hug and a big breath and a kiss. And so we'll complete the call by just taking a big breath for you and really acknowledging all of the brilliance you bring to our community and all of the work you're doing out in the world, helping people like us get our message out there to the masses. So nice big breath for Jill. Thank you all so much for being here live with us. That's such deep appreciation for taking this time out of busy mama schedules. Many blessings. And we look forward to seeing you virtually soon and playing with you live soon. And awesome. Jill at jilllublin.com and publicitycrashcourse.com. Her code was publicity to get the deal. And I did test it and it does work. So
thank you.
Awesome. All right, beautiful. Much love. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.